We're running on fumes, and it's Let's Go JoJo. You are listening to Let's Go JoJo, the weekly JoJo's Bizarre Adventure podcast about weekly anime from Dynamite in the Brain and Secret of the Sailor Madness. So come along and hang with the Let's Go gang. It's Dwayne,
Hello.
it's Niall,
How are you?
and it's me, Brian. And on this episode, we are covering anime that aired the week of January the 28th to February the 3rd, 2023, with a few exceptions, just a couple this week. There'll be some more next week. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Actually, it'll be the same because one of these things is ending. It's getting replaced by something else. We're going to start. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Part 6, Stone Ocean, Episode 32, Heavy Weather 3. So
It's I guess I guess that then that's we've lost another one, so you gotta have the whole thing. We know end credits thing, and you didn't even get like when the stand user goes and the character's soul that they got their stand evaporates from their body, and then you can see him up in the clouds like it's fucking
that's
Lion King.
his body may be dead from at the end of the episode, but they still got his stand.
He's still around in part. Like we do see like some golden leaves like float up to the heavens and stuff, and maybe we'll get a nice shot of him in the clouds with Danny or someone, at the end of it, like just all our friends, that kind of thing.
But before we go to there, though, we have an SC and weather forecast face off against Poochie, which Anasi's advice is your brother's stand is a wimp, getting close and beat him to death, essentially.
It's a good plan.
You like knock the brains out of your head into like a somewhat obsolete format. I'm not sure what it is. I presume they're CDs. Could be DVDs. Maybe they're HD DVDs as well. It was the mid 2000s after all. But yeah, it's kind of doing all that. But fun, it isn't that much of it. But it took his fucking leg off for a start. It's like, come on, go get him.
Well, yes, Anasi starts. So he starts beating him up, and then Anasi.
Well, initially they're like, we know he's nearby, but I'm using my air pressure to tell if there's any change in air pressure, and there's nobody breathing because besides the slugs and us. But he's hiding on the slugs because he's figured out how Weather Report's power works, which was the fucking thing I said the other day about rainbows, and I was like, oh, that's good. I'm glad they figured out that. Yeah.
Again, and I'd like a different card, like touching on this. There's always something that was on his mind. Again, reading magazines in the doctor's office, and it's just like, because it's about we've had like. That's kind of been like kind of White Snake's thing of it shows you an illusion. We've had a lot of very illusionary like powers and things that mess with your head in this. But with Marilyn Manson doing the memento on Jolene and all that, it's like messing with your head. Lots of messing with your head going on here, and that's what the heavy weather does. It's just mess with your head so much. You see a rainbow, you go to the cinema and you see they're putting like the frame of the popcorn and the drinks and make you go out and buy popcorn and a drink. I don't know why in the middle of the film. I don't know, because you're already sitting down. Maybe during the ads or the trailers. But what if in a rainbow you saw like a snail, and if that was imprinted in your brain so much you thought you were a snail, and your body responded to that, you transmogrified into a snail itself.
Yeah. So it's the idea of subliminal messaging in rainbows to turn you into snails. The turn you into snails is the bit that I'm confused a little about, but it's JoJo's, it's fine. But yeah, so Poochie has figured out how to solve this by removing the vision from his eyes with his two tiny little CDs,
little mini
discs.
Yeah, little mini discs. Take them out.
I didn't know you could do that, but that is very funny. So it's like, and I can sense your aura, and that guy over there, his legs have turned into slugs, so he can't get me.
How about you sense my aura, motherfucker? Ah, no, my leg is gone.
Yeah, so he's chopped off one of your legs because I want you to bleed out because I want your powers to adversely affect Jolene and everyone else and slow them down. I want you to die slowly. And all right, I'm off. I'll just walk this way. Ah, Jesus, what's wrong with my foot? Why is the ground now covered in spikes that I can't see? Because as we said before, I did blind myself.
Yes.
It's updraft and freezing blood, I believe, is how he's doing it.
It is, yes, he's freezing his blood. So then he borrows Anasi's eyes by sticking his stand's hand inside Anasi's head to take control of him. And
What's the logic there? He's putting his hand in the CD player to control it, kind of thing.
It gets stuck sometimes, and you got to like do it. Got wedge it out.
Yeah.
You know, you got to hit the button and it goes back to factory mode, which is why it was just responding to all his commands.
Right.
Yeah, and so he's guiding him around the spikes, and then they get past all the spikes on the ground, and he goes, "Oh, I do apologize. There was one of the spike I'd missed because I was looking on the ground and not upwards. Now I'm looking upwards. I can see there is another spike." And he's like, "Where is this other spike? Oh, it's your own blood has been turned into a spike, and it's about to go through your neck."
I'm very sorry, but you didn't ask.
No, exactly. It's a very good delivery of like the slightly mind controlled, but also slightly still having a bit of his personality there. And so he drops him, and then they start beating each other to death. There is some very bad driving from Jolene because there's a massive amount of fog being generated.
Well, they got the most slugified of them to do the driving for some fucking reason. And he's not a very good driver. Yeah.
I don't know. It's probably better than that. Like, you know, rather than even being in a vehicle with a Joe Star, you definitely shouldn't let him drive it. That's definitely that's double bad. You know, it's kind of thing. This is also like you have to endure something for this to come so close to one saying you almost got him. Like you've almost got the main villain. You're going to take him out. Just one more punch will do it. Oh, I got hit by a car. Oh fuck.
Yeah, Versus sneaks out of the crashed car. And then they find Poochie and they attack him, but it turns out they were just attacking a phantom that was over the body of Versus. But they didn't notice it first because it did bleed when they punched it.
Yeah, from DVDs ghosting, it's even images everywhere, and it's just like, you know, know that the new moon is in 3 days. Try and stop me if you can. Voot, try and stop me if you can. Voot, try and stop me if you can. It's like, okay, stop it, shut up.
They're all turning back to normal at this point as well, and the weather's disappeared, and it's kind of taking them it's taking Jolene the longest to realise that weather's dead.
The wind has stopped. Don't you get it? Yeah, it's a very calm day, you know, like, you know, all the snails and everything, yeah. But don't you know what it means? It's just, he's gone, yeah. Well, his legs, both his legs are gone. He wasn't going to be much use here. Good one on Anna's feet, though, when he did have one leg off. I'm going to put Diver down into you, so you got a leg to stand on, and then and possibly to kick him with as well.
Yes, he was, but then he started turning into a snail when Poochie flashed the reflection of a rainbow in his eyes.
Yeah, you've seen a rainbow. The more you see a rainbow, the more you turn into snails. Yeah.
Yes, because Anna was like, "I'm not even touching the snails. Why am I turning into a snail?"
Yes.
But yeah, some good action, some crazy fighting, using your powers to take advantage of a terrible situation you're currently in. Attacking your brother with your own blood feels a very JoJo's thing to do.
Yeah, well, the Arab blood, you know, so that's what it all comes down to, you know. It's different. Most of the time, your own blood is attacking you in one form or another. It might be like literally, or it could be just in the form of a dude just punching you in the face. It's a wide range of dangers there.
And then I'm like, I still can't believe it's only on episode 32. There's still loads of this to go.
Yeah.
Again, I don't understand how we're not near the end. It feels like we're near the end.
You are near the end, but it's just a couple of bits to go. But if we spend with the henchmen, we gotta catch up with Poochie, and he's gonna be throwing a few more like surprises at you. Because this is like, you know,
like every time Poochie brings out another guy, including this case Weather Report, like it seems to be like, oh, I'm scraping the bottom of the barrel. This is my last fucking couple of guys I have. No, he constantly has more fucking tricks up his sleeve. He's a good villain. You really want to get him though.
Damn that priest.
Yes, and they've got we got the pets his stand though, so that's what you say. So that's why we don't get the full death, I don't think, is because we've still got a bit of him here to take with us. It's for you, Jolene, Emporio says.
Just put it on the mantelpiece, you know, I can kind of look at it, you know, it's pretty cool. That was a cool stand. I just like how that one looked, you know. No, it was much cooler when it was like doing like crazy shit with the atmosphere and the moisture therein and everything like that. The whole snail thing was like, yeah, that's, you know,
Yeah,
It's
I
like
did-
fairly like wide ranging and a kind of apocalyptic, another kind of apocalyptic fucking end game scenario here. But yeah, it's not as cool as freezing blood into icicles and making it fall on it. It's a bit more
I
street, bit more.
did check in on Eurosite Zero this week because it was the return of Shigeru Chiba, albeit with a different character this time, and it's suffering similar to JoJo's does. Of like, it's definitely hitting episodes where the animation is pretty limited.
Yeah.
And I have to remind myself because it's David Production doing Undead Unluck, but it's a different
Yeah.
team, isn't it? It's the Fire Force team doing
Mm.
Undead
But
Unluck.
I know, but they didn't have been putting people around, you know, because
Yeah.
part way through they pulled off Stone Ocean to go on to Eurosite. They pulled them off to get into pre-production. Then and because got the team, we still need like a few like layout dudes, a few in betweeners or like that to kind of get the ball rolling.
But if you wanted to hear Shigeru Chiba screaming his head off, it was a good week for you because we'll get to something we did watch with him screaming his head off.
Yeah, because you're starting Trigun at the minute, so we haven't got him in the rotation now.
Then we've got Lupin Zero, episode 6, the final part. This is called
Lupin the Third claims the title of the third. Or Young Lupin claims the title of the third. Yeah.
Yes, that's the. So yes, Gaucho the Wolf Hunter. I was right. He's like a guy who goes from revolution to revolution, helping them out, and as does Yoko, because basically he's saved her life and has given her a reason for living.
I want to depose my government. Isn't there an easier way? Well, like, don't we had a number for you. Call Gaucho and his merry band of revolutionaries. They can everything you need: socialism, capitalism, dictatorship. We got you all sorted.
And so yeah, he's getting ready to fire the cannon at the Prime Minister of Japan, and just about the time that he's about to fire the cannon, Lupin Senior, the original Lupin, and Albert roll up. Albert gets into a fight with one of the cabinet members who's wearing a suit of armor underneath his suit.
I knew that suit looked too bulky. I was like, did it? All right.
Hey, I'm new to this game, but I know all the tricks. Okay.
And Lupin's gambling on his grandson that he can steal the thing. Before he can get there, though, he's got to find out where he is by chasing around Shinobu, who turned out to be his dad in disguise because he was wearing the wrong knickers.
Like Lupin 2, like I guess that you're saying, you know, I won't ever go disguise myself as ladies, you know, because I suppose that's the last thing they'll see coming. But you know, if you're into that, that's fine. It's okay. You know, it's just live with it, man. It's cool.
I manages to catch up to his dad, and so he tells him where it is. And,
yeah, great little chase scene through all of the house, you know.
That was a fun romp. Yeah.
I've made some new traps while you were away, father, papa.
I've adjusted your traps to benefit me. I've adjusted your adjustments to benefit me. Yeah.
And particularly with the very improv jazz song that's playing in the background of the chase as well.
That does help.
Because it gives it a good feel, and that's one of those pieces of music where it's like that makes it feel like Lupin, but it feels different from the usual Lupin soundtrack, which seems to be one of the things they're going for. So yeah, they show up to steal the songstress, prevent Tokyo being nuked.
Yuki gets to fire the biggest gun he's ever fired.
Yes.
I don't
aim it much, just aim it roughly at the bullet. It's like, yeah, good enough.
Lupin, I don't know what's with you and me and boats, but it's just getting to be a bit of a habit.
And generally, Lupin fundamentally misunderstanding the relationship between Gaucho and Yoko. But also, he just managed to get in a very early, I guess, for him chronologically, bit of combat swapping when they feel like they're about. It looks like Gaucho's about to steal his gun, but then he manages to swap the motorcycle handlebars for the gun and get his gun back as they show down. And it kind of leaves it ambiguous because Gaucho's about to throw himself off the boat, and Lupin fires the shot, but you don't see whether it connected or not.
But the fall seems to have killed him. You don't know if Lupin actually did the kill himself. Yeah,
they fall into the water right now. It's did they die? And that's why where leaves Yoko off was like, you know, if she slipped him, you can't keep her when he falls off. It's like, you know, well, you know, she could have survived that maybe. You know, we didn't see nobody.
But yes, these pizzas here. But yeah, in general, it also felt me like oh, this is why he's attracted to Fujiko, because Fujiko will climb
Yes.
over his corpse to get to escape, and not throw herself away for him or for any other man.
He can depend on Fujiko not to sacrifice herself in a romantic gesture.
Yes.
Like to sacrifice someone else for profit is basically what Fujiko will do. Yeah.
Yes, it feels like it provides a nice contrast to the way Fujiko behaves. That you make realize, oh yeah, this is like if you're not discounting Jigen, the first love of his young life, and it was like, oh yeah, the attraction to Fujiko makes more sense if you put this character in. But overall, great series, fantastic.
Yeah, I think it was good. Some folks seemed very, very lukewarm on it, but I thought it was actually it stayed really true to the whole spirit of the thing overall. And it was all that very like good kind of rollicking romp thing. Maybe they thought like, well, no, is it like it's just like a little cape thing. Yeah, but he's only like fucking like 14, 15 here, like and he's like one of the toughest 40, 50 year olds you're gonna come across. And that's the best before you get to Jigen. But I think that was so good. Yeah. And when he comes up, he's got the little suit. He's got a little suit made up. It's a little green suit. Like, oh my goodness.
the little colorful tie. It's the thing of it. So it's like, do we need Lupin babies? And it's like, no, but that's not what this is. This is kind of like establishing how this character could come to be if he's coming from these disparate places. And it's a nice amalgamation of not everything Lupin is, but like a bunch of things he would become.
Yeah.
Like you say, Brian, it feels like it belongs to an era, but it doesn't belong to any specific era of Lupin all the time.
Yeah, there's more hints of its timeline when they run through Gaucho's
of the history.
What all the things Gaucho's been involved in. But the other thing it has going for it, because it's not Lupin babies, because this character exists within the Monkey Punch comics in the first place.
They didn't make this whole cloth. Yeah.
The very first run of Lupin has stories about young Lupin. So
and it already sort of broached it in recent times with a little bit of backstory in Lupin Part 6. It's like, oh yeah, who is his mother? These little questions you have when he's been around so long. It's just like very simple, basic things. It's just like, oh yeah, how did that happen to him? What kind of child would embark on this kind of life? It's like, well, this kind of one would. That's well.
Yes.
Yeah, and again, the sense of like the kind of the pressure of one saying, "Oh, he's taking on the mantle of Lupin the Third because it's just like the family name." Like, yeah, but he didn't really want it. It was kind of felt like something he kind of was pressured to do into it and to do a certain way to like live up to. He's like, well, yeah, but it's about like trying to like stake it out for yourself. And also, not kill a grandfather. You got to defeat your father. You got to usurp the name from it altogether. And Lupin 2, like, I can kind of go a little bit from here, but like the bits from here, I think it'd be a bit of a cad that seems overall like fond of his son anyway, and he respects the kind of path he's going to take.
In their own messed up way, his granddad and his dad do want the best for him, but they want what they want for him, rather than what Lupin wants. And
living through your kids.
This is about him figuring out. It's like I'm not following my grandfather's history. It's just like I'm taking this title for myself because I want it. That kind of thing. That's the difference.
The end coda essentially is now that he's killed a man, he can finally appreciate a cigarette like Jigen can.
He's not coughing and spluttering, like he has been before.
And they're going to rob the secret casino that's under the Parliament. Again, generally very cynical towards the government in show, which is always appreciated.
Yeah.
Yes, that is generally the message. Yes.
Mm.
Then we've got Detective Conan 1071, Kudo Yusaku's Detective Show Part 1. Talking of adults who suck, it's fun times with Conan's parents.
I thought I cut into the wrong episode again because we introduced with some reporters outside of the police department, and his dad is coming out going like, "Oh, were you consulting about the series of homicides that there's been?" And I was like, "What series of homicides? Did I fucking skip ahead?" It's like, no, 3 people have been murdered off fucking screen in this fucking town.
Yes, and
crime wave.
Yeah.
And the dad's already solved it, but he's not going to tell them who did it now. He's going to tell them on a TV special later this week. And I was like, what is? And I'd already watched The Culprit Hanazawa, which has completely corrupted my view of the town they live in now.
Yeah.
Conan's a monster.
Because essentially the central joke, at least of the first episode, is the people who live in this town are monsters, including your favorite characters. Yeah, so he's going to announce it on this show, and then he ends up getting food poisoning, and so Conan's mum is going to disguise herself as Conan's dad, and she's going to go on the TV show, and she wants Conan to use his voice-changing device to impersonate his dad, and also to solve the crime.
mystery.
Yes,
because he's laid up in bed. He's in no fucking condition to explain how this mystery works to his ma'am, a master of disguise. But Conan, you can figure it out. Like, here's his notes, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I figured out who did it." And then his ma'am is like, "I also ate at the restaurant last night, so I also have food poisoning." And she's laid up in bed then as well. I was like, "Come on."
We're also early on. They're also asking him about how he cleared Kaito Kid's name for a crime. This will be important because after we go through all the crime parts, so they also have to cover the Akai's on FBI business, because if he was in the house, it would have solved the plot by having him here. So we've got. There's Yumika Kawasako, who's still alive. She's the first person who discovered the first victim. She's a newbie announcer who has a pink mic. These are the important details I've written down. First victim is Marita Atasumi, 24, a clothing maker employee. They're all locked room murders. He was
they're all like, murder in a locked room, but they're different each time slightly. There is one consistent thing throughout them, and I think that's obviously the big clue. But so they thought it was 3 separate locked room mysteries, but it's like, no, it's the same culprit doing exactly the same thing and covering it up seemingly in a different way, but basically in the same way.
Yeah. So he was in his. Yeah, sorry, was it she? I think she. Yeah, she was in the bathroom.
She had her head knocked against the bathroom counter.
Yes, and the contents of a bag had fallen out by the door.
And it was one of those bathroom doors that you lock from the inside; it doesn't lock from the outside. So
yes, because the announcer had got the keys to get into the house because she was a friend and had the spare keys, but they had to go get the landlord to get the bathroom door opened.
Yeah.
Then we had Kiryu Taiji, 31, a freeter and a doll maker, and a fan of the video game Dungeon Homes, which apparently is an MMO that Conan plays.
It's an MMO about mystery solving. Would you fucking believe it in this world? I know, crazy.
Again, it looks like someone had knocked over bags in front of the door. They're like, well, his guy's house is generally quite tidy. I mean, he hasn't taken his rubbish out, but it's all bagged up normally. So
all his DVDs are lined up, all his anime figurines are lined up. It's like, he keeps it rather neat. The fact that there's a bunch of rubbish at the door is a bit suspect. And then obviously there was a bunch of bathroom supplies in front of the door in the bathroom. Yeah. And who's the third victim?
Yeah, so the second victim had been stun-gunned, strangled, but he fought back, and there is DNA evidence of skin under his nails, but they haven't got the results on that yet.
They don't know who the perpetrator is, and presumably they could match it. Yeah.
Then your final one is Kanzawa Koretsugu, 47, a bakery manager. He was stabbed to death, married but separated. His ex-wife discovered his body. There was junk in front of the door again. Then the mum falls ill. Then there's a knock at the door, and there is a third The mum falls ill while he disguises the dad, which is quite good. She's slumped over the table, and
her mustache is kind of hanging off. Yeah.
There's a knock at the door, and there's a third It's Kid. So then I was like, you constantly seeing cuts to the culprit as well. And I wrote down, so probably the culprit earlier was Kid. By the end of the episode, I was like, this isn't Kid. This is.
There's a difference, right? When you see the culprit in the flashbacks and shit, like, it's the regular one, you know, naked black, like in silhouetted man. Whereas the culprit you see in the pharmacy over listening to Conan and his mom explain the shit with his dad having food poisoning and stuff, he's wearing like a hat, and I was just like, why is the culprit wearing clothes? That's very unusual.
I think this is I think this is Vermouth from the Black Organization. It's just there's just
Ooh.
the way Kid's talking doesn't sounds like her rather than Kid, even though it is Kafa Yamaguchi playing Kid when he's talking to Kid, but obviously the
But I mean,
person
like
who
he was
plays the
doing an
dad
impression of
played
the
the
dad
dad.
as well.
Yes.
So yeah, it
Uh,
doesn't really make a difference there. So he's pretending to be. You think he's pretending to be Kid, pretending to be the dad.
yeah,
in this case, yeah.
she's dressed
Sorry,
as
she
Kid,
is pretending to be
dressed
Kid.
as the
Yeah,
dad. Yes, yeah.
yeah.
Because there's also a connection between. So this is a very old history. So Vermouth uh, went to the same acting school as Conan's mum, and they both studied makeup under Kaito Kid's father,
Right. Okay. So
which
she'd
is
have an excuse to be doing an
whi-
impression of him as well. Yeah.
yes, yeah, which is
Mm.
why they both, why they both are very good at disguises. Because this is the first time that the mum's passed herself off as the dad. This is this is a thing which has happened before in the series.
So anyway, Kid in disguise as Conan's dad is there to Conan answering the door because his parents are laid up and there's no one else at home. And he's like, "I've come here to repay the debt of him getting me off that crime, so that I'll dress as him to do this interview about the case." That's the ostensibly what they're why he's there in disguise as the
Yeah.
dad, but.
We should say the food poisoning is also suspicious because it was a leaflet for a recently opened Italian restaurant which was shoved in their door.
Yeah.
And they
It does
both had,
seem pretty suspect the day before. Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
and they both had the same meal because we're husband and wife. Of course we would.
Sure.
And yes, generally Kid or Vermouth or whoever this is pretending to be the dad at this point is kind of winding Conan up. Conan's like having to like play innocent sometimes. They seem to deliberately be teasing that they don't think that he's really Conan. It's like, why are you hanging out with these people? These aren't your parents.
Yeah, I'm a neighbor kid here to help him out. It's like, we need to finish this interview so I can call the hospital. They're clearly badly food poisoned. I need to help them out. But it's like, yeah, I do appreciate you trying to make it look like this isn't like a very weird situation right now. But also, let me, the small child, do the talking. Don't say anything extraneous. And it immediately, his dad, or the person in disguise, his dad, starts flirting with the interviewer. Like, it's just, come on, what are you doing? That's very suspect.
Yeah, I think that's where it is. I think that's where it leaves off.
They're setting up the interview space where they have like 3 of the doors for the locked room mystery, and I'm guessing they're going to show how how he locked the door, and I assume disguised it with the random detritus that was spilled by the door.
Yeah, I don't know how they did it. I don't know who did it, but I was just like, I'm pretty sure that's not Kid, just from the way.
Yeah.
Some of the
You
lines
think it's like
were.
a double blind thing? I don't know the specifics of it, but I assume it's like you pull a thing after you, and that's going to knock over this bag, disguising what you pulled after you to lock the door, something like that. I assume.
Yeah, I would guess, but I would not know who out of who we've met would be the murderer. Is it I assume it's the host. I don't know. I'm sure. I don't think. Why would Vermouth be going around murdering these people if it is Vermouth?
For fun, practice.
But yeah, the case isn't really the fun here. It's the performance of the parents and then Kid, stroke whoever it is. And the other thing I wrote down from Kafa Yamaguchi's performance here, I was like, God damn, let this guy play Lupin, because he now sounds too old to be Kid. But he would be a great Lupin.
He's been auditioning for years now.
I know. Yeah, exactly. Here, Tiger and Bunny. I'm sure other places as well. Yeah.
Who's also a fairly tricksy dude who also uses deception, you know.
But yeah, it was a good episode. Like I said, I was hankering after some canon Conan and hit the spot nicely. Then we got Welcome to Demon School, Iruma-kun, Season 3, Episode 16, which lies to us in its title, The End of the Harvest Festival. It's for most characters.
Next episode.
End of the Harvest Festival, Part 1.
Sure.
It should be, yeah. It's like, yeah, fun. Oh, yeah, Asmodeus, you're totally disqualified. He's like, worth it. I did it for the boss.
punch you
Also,
again before I
I'm
leave.
already like at that rank anyway, so whatever. So no,
Yeah,
I'm just,
it doesn't matter. Like, as long as he doesn't get expelled from school, it's like, yeah, it's fine. I don't need to achieve a higher rank. I'm good. And they're like,
Yeah.
all like, oh yeah, you're the one of us who can be disqualified for like, and it makes no difference. Yeah.
he's like, now I'm disqualified. I can beat the shit out of you with no repercussions. Super, get the fuck out of here, all right?
It takes them about 5 minutes for him to actually get him to leave. They're constantly having to remind him that he's been disqualified and should report to the. What do they call it?
But in fairness, when's the last time him and Iruma and herself have been in the same place?
Yes.
To have a chat, like the best friend squad back together. Like,
You're looking well. Yeah, you too. You're coming along for fun, sweet bow action. You came in on a tiger. Looking very, very king-like, sir. I mean, it's great now.
Yes, because all of us is like, I don't know why you threw it away. You were the closest to being the young king. I am Iruma. My desire is to become Iruma-kun's halberd. Does not want to take the leadership role.
I'm gonna be the junkyard dog who takes care of junk like you.
And then they're like, oh, we just got to get that vase back from Arobus. How are we going to get it off him? And then one of the teachers shows up and reveals that it was Alaka all along. And
because Jazz got disqualified doesn't mean I had to get disqualified. I was just in that tent to get some lunch. That was it. So he could
see where everyone was, and the thing is like, oh, okay, so that's where we need to set up the fake thing, so he'll give in the vase there. Yeah, perfect.
But 2 days in the tent, observing and building gadgets and doing all sorts of things. So yeah, and I like how it was the 3 guys Oribus had identified as his opponents were the ones who defeated him in the end.
He calls him like he sees him.
Yeah, he's right.
Yeah, but he's still in the body. He's like fun saying, "Nah, man, you can still do it. You're still in this, man. You're still in it." It's like, no, you're not in this. You're out of here. And then it's kind of top up the points then for the rest of the class and how they're getting on. The fun saying, "Oh, the siege has come to a stalemate. No, the beasts and the students are kind of just standing out of that. Like, sure, it's almost over now. We won't gain much from doing it." Saying, "But my queen, we can sacrifice ourselves. We can be the ingredients to give you more points." But saying, "No, I wouldn't do that to my loyal fans. I mean subjects."
So she could have won this thing if she wanted, but no.
Yeah. No. And then all the other, and then in the castle, all the people who've been protected give their points to the 2 lads because they point out, if we weren't in this building, we would have been forfeited. We never expected to even get to the end of the Harvest Festival, mate. So you can have all the points.
We just had a great time being a part of your cadre and castle, and now we're best friends. Include the guy who wants a bunch of best friends and the guy who wants no one around him at any time to get out of my bed.
Let's have a hot pot. I thought you were going.
Sapnok apparently has been awake for 4 days straight, so just falls asleep at the end of the Harvest Festival. Mid-sentence. I do like these 2 lads. I hope they come back again, and I hope they figure out
maybe they'll come back to school. That would be good.
Figure out who their senpai is.
Can we get this like miscommunication going for how much longer?
As possible,
in and out of doors, just to give us one of those kind of sketches would be great.
Yeah, ideally wants to carry on until they reunite them with Balam, and then they realise that Balam would be a much better teacher than the one they were stuck with. Because we get even Balam's proud of Alice for sticking up for Clara as well, of course.
Yeah, and also their teacher isn't even teaching his guys like warfare; he's teaching them misdirection.
Yes.
Yeah.
So and then it's like, we'll stick the seed in the pots. Let's see what's going to happen next episode, and we'll actually get the remaining characters' scores at that point. And then we get the very long. The Sukuba is Asmodeus's very long walk to the forfeit tent,
and trying to get out of it at several stages.
Yes.
What if I put on disguise? I guess we'll hang around, and still help him out. It's just everyone's like, "No, you gotta go. Oh, please, no."
Well, if I'm technically his halberd, like I'm part of his equipment, so I could just hang around him and not like gain points for myself. It's like, no, that's not going to apply.
You're the first one to try some weasel out. Come on, get in the tent. Get in there.
Then we got
Right.
Fire Hunter episode 3, Fractions of the World. Didn't watch it this week, but I understand you two did.
It was at least like at a
was
better keel than it was previously, where it wasn't like fucking melting like an ice cream in the sun. It did open though with a whole like fun long shot up the driveway again.
Oh, they had that
it's this
CG
again.
shot of the mansion. They're going to use that a bunch.
Yeah. So Koshi and his sister are going to live in the mansion, and saying, "Oh, I'll have you in. I'll like keep you as my own family, I'm like, no, here's like my daughter and my wife, and they'll be like, like your surrogate sister and your surrogate mother or aunt. It'll all be good, and they kind of get introduced around the house and."
There was some weird bits with the conversation between him and the daughter and him and I think it was like a butler or something, where the sound that they were saying wasn't coming out of their mouths. We're seeing what they're saying like desynchronized to their thing, so that way they don't have to animate any mouth.
Yeah, they're just kind of walking around the mansion a bit, you see them at a distance, so they don't need to kind of do that kind of thing. And lots of someone saying, "Oh, your name is Koshi, made the character's Ko and She," and it's just like one blank screen, and just one break down what his name means. It's just like yeah, no. If we're gonna do this much reading, besides the subtitles, I will just read the books. It really seems much straightforward. And that and Mother is actually quite nice, but it's just like feeling a bit like ill today, a bit off. So don't mind her. She's she seems to be kind of abrasive when she comes out and sees him for the first time.
How about that? Yeah, like hanging around, like drinking in early day drinking in the not in the underwear, but in like a robe and stuff like that. It's like, she seems very unhappy that you're here, but I'm delighted that you're here, and you're going to be my boyfriend, is basically the impression you're getting off the daughter. And the dad is not only like, I don't know if he knows about the daughter thing, but he has gone like, all right, this will be your office, and check it out, there's a secret fucking lab underneath. Pretty sweet, huh? It's a cool deal you got here. Now, solve this entire thing before the government collapses. Yeah, you said the government's going to collapse. What's the deal with that? It's like, all right, so I got a bunch of spies everywhere. I'm not very suspicious at all as a guy. I have a bunch of hunters going around checking this for me for the spiders, which are like, I guess like a political faction, you call them?
I guess to seem to be like, like from the silhouettes we get off their guard, it's like, they're like hunters, but they're bad. They're going around like, hunting things, not to try and like keep this whole deal going. They could get fuel and get resources to keep this thing going. Yeah. It's just a kind of, I'm just going to like destabilize things, maybe like killing the wrong things or doing stuff like, I don't know, there was like some long time ago, we just fucking started like a fire in a factory and it burned down the entire city. But the government, the authorities were suspiciously late in actually like acting and doing anything to put it out. So that's why I think I don't trust the government.
Yeah, either they were in on it or they were partaking of it, or spiders have guys on the inside. It's just like, this government isn't long for the fucking world, so I need you to crack this whole Skyfire thing before the whole thing goes to shit, so I'll be able to rebuild society in my own giant-headed image. No, probably he's totally a nice guy. I assume he's fine.
Back on the trains, it's just like, well, okay, kids, you're off for the next town. Fucking that's it. Ironclad rule. Like someone saying, oh, really? Someone saying, then the mechanic says, I'll talk to him. Yeah, it's fine. He's pretty grumpy, but actually it's fine. I can tell, like, you're actually trying to do something like stand up and help somebody out there. Just imagine that he left the door open. No, because if something got in here, whoa, it would have been bad news. Bad news indeed.
Us alive. Because they're stopping off in the first town is where they think she's going to be dropped off, because we're dropping off the first bride. And I like the kind of world building of it's like they weren't allowed to see the wedding. Outsiders weren't allowed to do that, and they would just leave beforehand. We have no idea how our life is going to go from now on. Bye. And I was like, Jesus, that's really rough.
Yeah, and what like the what's got one of the like the engineers there for saying, I was going to sell this in the next town, but I can't leave you off with like a wedding ring. So it was like a nice little hairpin, fun. I'll just charge double for something else. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
I'll just screw someone else out of money. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's fine with things, like I think you gotta get it fun. Yeah, we gotta have rules. You gotta have fucking like keep the fucking the discipline, because we will combust at a moment's notice if things go wrong. But it is a tough.
In this world,
yeah, but it's still a tough for to put a kid out in there, so we're not going to be completely heartless about things. Like even the one who got attacked, she's just like laid up in bed, but we'll just give her some medicine, or all right, it's a scram. We're not like we're not monsters. The real monster is actually here because we're just talking about like get the fire fiends, they're the ones that live in the forest and they kind of they're hunt, but they don't really hunt. It's all like the sky fiends. Here's one right now. It's a big fucking dragon that's wrecking the shit out of our trains.
Yeah, they'd stop the trains to let the hunter out and grab some more of the forest fiend's blood. To refuel basically. It's like because your man's changing one of the fuel things and like, oh, fucking get the engine ready to get the fuck out here. It's like I literally just changed one of the fuel rods. It's like, oh, never mind. There's a giant glowing dragon flipping the train essentially.
Yeah. I guess like I imagine like the hunter they got isn't the kind that they need because they need a special kind of hunter who's like used to that. But maybe with 2 dogs you could do it.
One guy and 2 dogs, could they kill a dragon? I guess we'll find out.
Well, I was going to say, I think one of the dogs knows how to fight based on what we know of the history of the father. So
also, if that bad animation of the dogs wasn't just bad animation, the dogs can literally fly. Then we're fucking good. We're probably
we're golden. Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
Yeah. It's very opulous. It's not.
It was better.
It's better anyway, but then the dragon comes in, it's a little bit gloopy. It's like, and then just a freeze frame, on the kind of like the pastel watercolor thing. This is what it's supposed to look like.
The freeze frame of the very detailed dragon over the very not detailed animated dragon. I was just like, you shouldn't have done that, lads. You kind of made yourself look like fools there. Yeah.
I suppose they weren't as desperate this time around and reaching for the entire bag of tricks to put up there. It's a kind of It did go by a lot faster than the previous one. Like, dragon comes down and comes in. Oh, we're done. Okay, that actually was a bit more watchable. It tricked me into making time pass by like a good television program should do. And but still, doing a lot of things. Maybe I don't know when these 2 are actually going to get there. From we know it's going to be a long ass fucking journey to get to the capital, and then when our 2 characters are going to kind of meet, it might kick off into something else. But
I'm hoping by the time they meet, like enough time will have passed that he'll have discovered something about the Skyfire and something about there'll have been progression, that kind of thing.
Yeah, because no other way it's
time gap to form those kind of things.
Yeah, because no other way it's going to go was that I got to drop off by number 2, and we got to drop off by number 3. Presuming they survived this incident, I'm not sure. The way it's going to go. Maybe it could surprise you again at that. But it's going to be a lot of scenes of talking, and discussing about, government conspiracies, and engineering things, which could be like kind of fascinating to kind of, to hear about and read, but it could be presented in a much more dynamic and interesting and engaging way.
I'm engaged in it mostly for the story, and again, I guess that's coming from it being a book and like a interestingly written book, but it's still not great. And if you want to drop this, dude, that's fine. I don't really mind.
And they're leaning on the narrator a lot as well to kind of keep these moving as well. A detail we tell you about, we can't animate, to give us an animate the way it should be to deserve be animated. We're going to just kind of explain here just over a wide shot of the landscape. We're kind of managing okay with the slate, but it's really still jockeying for position. And I'm either forgetting to watch things, or I don't know if I've had much time lately to watch things. I could have been watching Bungo Stray Dogs like I was meant to, or I wanted to, and if I got all this instead.
That definitely, Bungo Stray Dogs definitely does not have those production problems.
No.
Then we got TRIGUN Stampede, episode 4, Hungry.
Hungry like the wolf would. He's here now. We found him. They're on the lamb. The broadcast going off and saying we got Venge Stampede. He's wanted. And he's got these 2 members of his gang. We're a gang now. Yeah, I guess we're a gang now. And they pull in at a petrol station. But the people here have been killed, and there's only a child hiding in the locker. It's what's happened here?
But before they pull into the petrol station, we do see Wolfwood walking in a full suit, carrying a cross through the desert, and there's 3 fucking I don't know, random Muse guys walking through the thing, going is that dude walking through the fucking desert in a suit? What a dipshit!
Well, he's by his own tombstone, huh?
Yeah, and he nearly gets hit by the lads in the car, so they have to pick him up and bring him to this petrol station. But everyone in the petrol station is dead except for a young girl. So Wolfwood puts on a funeral And then
Oh,
charge us for the service, obviously.
Just the whole thing. Okay, so like we can inter these souls into the ground, and may the mercy of God, the souls of faithful departed, rest in peace.
Amen.
Line. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, if we have fun. He's not good at that before and say, "Hey, look, kid, that's a fun, rough deal. This happens all the time out here, and it especially shouldn't happen to a kid. But it's going to be a real shock to you. But don't let it fucking define your entire life. It doesn't mean you aren't entitled to actually to laugh and to smile and enjoy being alive. Hey, Vash, Stampede, I've heard about you. You're a real character. I heard about you, and he's like a good foil to put in because at least this version of Vash in particular is much more kind of passive and much more reserved and kind of quiet. He's trying to kind of be that kind of that loner who's he's conceding a great tragedy for him, but he's kind of putting up and kind of questioning a lot of his principles and his morals that he clings to so closely for him, saying, no, that kind of attitude could get a lot of people killed. Get you killed, get a lot of people killed. In fact, no, it already has. So, what's the deal? No, fun. What would it take to get you to pull that gun and actually cap somebody between the eyes? What would it take, man? What would it take? Anyways, what time for that? Sandworm, a big one.
Swallows the whole petrol station.
And now we're inside it. Let me see. Better find a way out. Oh, the child is looking vanished down the tunnels. We should all split up and go find it.
We should all split up into these 4 different H.R. Geiger looking holes in this sandworm and have a look for the missing kid.
Wolf was being kind of shifty, but we just met him. He's he's one mountain off. Him and Robert De Niro aren't really getting off and saying it's fun. I got my fucking Derringer right here. A Derringer, oh man, it's fun. Okay, okay, if that's what you think he'll take it to 5 hours here, that's cool. Oh yeah, what's the cross? What's the cross? To the trade, a priest. Has some respect. Anyways, I'll split up and go find it. Oh, Meryl's got. Haven't seen her in a while. I'm thinking maybe you got Wolf. One saying, why are you phone come out to me? Why are you phone suspecting me?
While Vash is trying to going hey, come on, let's not fight. We're all in this together, right? Robert De Niro. He's gone. He's also gone.
Bobby. It's it's hey, it's just you and me. When we're kind of coming out to get us now, and when Vash is looking around, he's kind of looming menacing over his shoulders. So you kind of think, well, obviously Wolffoot. He's the dude is taking everybody out. No, it's a child. It's a child all along. It's suspiciously quiet. That's the kind of thing when you come up on a scene like that, you presume the 2 adults are dead and the child hiding is going to be their child. Nope. It's actually this is Zazie the Beast, one of the gung-ho guns, one of the nicest gangs, and their whole deal is they control the sandworms. Yep. This is all a big trap I lured you into, so good luck getting out. But okay, well, luckily I got my cross right here, which is actually I kind of just whip it off straight away. You wait away, it's a little while, but actually you kind of met him in the manga to actually see what's the deal with the cross. It's a big ass gun.
They want to get to the good bits in this.
Get to the good bits. It's great enough fun. Start fucking this mowing the fun thing down now because the sandworms have got a couple of different forms of life stages. Obviously big ass sandworm, big enough to swallow you in some cases, but they kind of are kind of swarming around in a little dragonfly form. Very handy to have out in the desert because you can kind of it makes for a beautiful nighttime display when they're all swarming and glowing like that.
And as Wolfwood points out, he kind of grabs one out of the air and just starts munching on it at one stage.
Oh, yeah, it's good. They're ripe this season. Yeah, it's great. All right. You could kind of shoot my phone. All my phone sandworms away and try and shoot me. I'm going to nip out of here. Fun. How are you gonna get out of this fun sandworm? We're still trapped in here. Well, that's okay. Let's flip up the other end. And that's what I thought. Oh yeah, the rocket launcher. No. We're modern times now. We're from the CGI production. This is 2023. It's a laser cannon. And it kind of flips it around, and this one just slices the whole thing in twain, and they kind of get poured out of it. It's oh, cool.
We check in on the 3 random sand-dwelling guys multiple times. When they see that giant thing get cut in half, they're not oh my god, that's amazing. They're ho, fucking dinner, John.
Hey, Baydert. It's and that's what it is, man. Yeah. Funny, be happy, everybody. If we all survived this, I mean, we've seen some horrible shit, we've been some horrible catastrophes, but fact is we're alive today, and we're alive because somebody else probably kind of helped us to get here. hopefully he didn't throw somebody like, into a sandworm to do that. No, which kind of feels nicely into what Vinland Saga was saying, but saying, yeah, but it's because like your life is kind of tough and kind of shit doesn't mean that you give up on living. Somebody got you. Somebody got you to this stage. I said, yeah, right. Hey, Vash, am I right? If I get not so bad after all. This you just met. No, hey, let's hop on the road together. Let's see where it takes us. I'm totally on your side. After everyone's gone to bed, so says I say the beast. Good job infiltrating Vash's stampedes in the cadre, dear Wolfwood. Yeah, you're fine saying. Why didn't you kill him? I could have killed him any time I wanted. No, if only, no, but that isn't the point this time. The point is trying like to get close enough to him. And the overall thing is like Nias doesn't want to kill Vash. He wants to try and like basically break his spirit to bring him over to his side because he's my brother. I want him in the family. I want him to be part of my family again. And I'm the big brother, so what I say goes. That's the way we're going to do it. It's going to be a bit of tension here, like because Wolfwood is here, and that's like his job, but that's how like the purpose he feels he was like getting more. He's kind of like raised into that. He's here to kind of just keep needling at Vash and try and basically put him in situations that will cause him to hopefully maybe relinquish his principles. Everyone's saying this is going to be the minute now. This is going to be the one moment you take a life and everything you've been trying to fight for and like hold back against is going to all come tumbling down. They're actually getting in the character announcements there, like again a dude you didn't see for ages later in the comic, who get him straight in an episode or two now, who's like straight from Wolfwood's past, so we're getting to see like him having to put up with his own dilemmas there straight away. But
it's a speed run of the manga.
Speed run
yeah,
is
very
now.
much so.
Yeah. But it was better. Like I'm glad to see him. He is my one favorite character in it. He's doing a good job as like being this abrasive personality. He's rubbing everybody the wrong way. No, he hasn't really kind of gotten to Vash, but Vash can kind of like can kind of see his point of view if he doesn't agree with it. And by the same token, Vash is going to try maybe like instill, well, this is why I do this, and that's kind of why Wolfwood is there. Why are you doing this? Why are you trying to like stick to this so hard, even though it's easiest thing to do would be to do the other thing. But it's like no, I gotta do this because what's the point? It's the how, it's also the why. Why is like this gotta be the zero-sum game on this planet? Isn't there a better way? And maybe all help each other out more, like killing each other for like the change in our back pockets or the petrol in our car. Like doesn't have to be this way. So that was good. Now this is where like you get a good sense of the scale of it as well, because they could not do like a big ass fucking sandworm like when Jonah and the whale style thing, and especially when they split the whole fucking thing in two, that would have been tricky to. But again, like using more of like the whipping the camera around to I guess a more like cool fucking cinematography on it.
Yeah, there's some really good use of physical space of inside the sandworm and stuff. I appreciate like how inside this weird desert creature, it was really dry looking and dusty on the inside. And I was like, that's good, because generally it's like, oh, you're inside a whale. It's like, oh, it's all meat on the inside. It's like, no, it's a fucking sandworm. It's different.
Yeah, it's like what's the thing from Star Wars? When we fall in there, like you could be there for like 100 years. That's it. Yeah. And that's how Boba Fett climbed now, because he's a badass. Because he didn't die, then he climbed his way back out. He's a badass. Yeah, and more color coming in, it's not just getting like, it's mostly a sand dune, it's mostly inside the worm, but then you get the kind of cool bioluminescent swarms of them floating around, and you make a kind of like, aurora sort of over in the night sky. It's pretty neat. And the sweet ass laser, because that's what it's kind of cool, like, because it's like the trigger or like the handle of the cross punisher, it's a skull, because that's rad, but you kind of just like doing lots of kind of like the dudes with the signs flipping around, when for the advertising, for like pull in left here for this new car dealership. It's kind of
like taking the entire cross section of the cross and like moving it up and down to cock that fucking giant. Like it's a good look. Yeah,
like more big crazy guns like that, because that's like a big part of why Trigun is good at the fun. Guns and things that shouldn't be guns.
Yeah.
Then we've got Inspector, episode 16, the Yuki honors Innocence.
You wouldn't
The
think
way-
an episode that has a case that has already been solved off screen before last episode would take this fucking long to talk about, but wouldn't you know it, the conversation is just going to take the whole episode.
Your Honor, my client is innocent of all charges.
So yeah, basically she kind of goes over it with him. It's like, right, so besides the circumstantial evidence of most of your name being written on the victim's hand, and her having written a letter of if my body shows up in mysterious circumstances, it was totally my ex-husband, what killed me. There was no real evidence against you. So when the police came to question you, and you were like, do you have any anyone to confirm your alibi? Where is it like, were you with anyone that night? And he's like, no. And it's like, suspicious. Also, we have a picture of you with what looks like your wife from a month ago, which is also suspicious. So they were extra suspicious, which made them go like, yeah, a real killer wouldn't have made it seem so suspicious. So we're looking into other fucking possible sources. He's too suspicious. It's too obvious. So they're looking into a different person is basically the logic. It was like, no, a killer would have made up a fucking lie. And yeah, the other bits that were kind of like off about the whole case is her wallet and her keys and stuff were in her purse, on her person basically. So she wasn't robbed, and her head was smashed in. But so, and based off of the way like she was just like had all her stuff and everything else was thing, and she appears to have walked with this person to this underpass to have a chat with them. So if she had long enough to have a chat with him and it was her ex-husband, she's like, you can't kill me. I have written a letter that the police will implicate you in the crime. And then it was like, ooh, I'm going to hesitate to do that. But if she didn't get to say that, then you absolutely would have like smashed her teeth in and destroyed her fingerprints or hidden the body or done anything basically to cover up the crime, which you didn't. You did nothing to cover up the crime. Which again is just like, yeah, that seems really fucking dumb. So it's the fact that you didn't have a strong alibi and you did seem more suspicious that made you more exonerated. So it's a good thing you met up with the Yuki Onna in the end.
He's seen at least one episode of one police procedural in his time. He didn't try anything, that seems unlikely.
Nothing. You didn't try and cover up the crime at all. At all. You just went home. All right, great plan. But he's like, yeah, but like, who would try and like, and it's like, what about the name on her hand? It's like, well, that was probably written by the murderer after the fact to make you look like the guy who did it. It's more common than you think, she says. So he's like, yeah, but who would know that that she tried to kill me? I mean, like, I didn't tell that to police. No one else knew that. And she's like, actually, it was that ex-employee of yours who keeps ringing you up, and she's currently trying to ring you on the phone. He's like, oh, Jesus Christ, I'm just going to put that on mute while you explain to me why that works. It's like, because he mentioned that, and it was in the scene as well, where she rang him up that night and goes like, hey, what are you up to? And he's like, oh, I'm just eating dinner alone. And she's like, oh, perfect alibi, time to go kill his wife, basically. Because she wanted to make it look like he had killed his ex-wife. And he's like, why though? And it's like, well, basically that she thought she could make it look like you did it, and she was annoyed that your wife cheated on you and ruined the company, etc., etc., etc. She didn't give him the whole truth in that. She explains that to her boyfriend, who was there the whole time, hiding behind a rock in the back of the cave. She explains that to her boyfriend later as to not upset him, because now that she's exonerated him, has cemented her relationship with Yuki Onna, she suggested him, you guys need to go home and bone down, but don't forget to use contraceptives. Because in that story that we mentioned in the prior two episodes, like that Yuki Onna had like 10 babies, and that's too many babies. You don't want that many babies. But and he's like, okay. And so she, again, the Yuki Onna flies off, happy as Larry, princess carrying him the whole way. And it's like, I guess we're gonna go bone down now. It's very weird. It's
not gonna be here advice to everybody at the end of the saying, now let's put this all this tragedy behind us, and you two kids who get out of here and get down some sweet love making safely, of course, safely.
Yeah, no, sensibly. But
like
yeah,
I'm gonna do tonight with my hot, still roughing up a guy. he's immortal, you know, so he can go all night, if you know what I mean.
The reason she kept her boyfriend in the back of the cave was to not freak out the Yuki Onna, because she needed her to get freaked out on her fake story that she'd made up in the last episode genuinely, and not get freaked out because her boyfriend was there and all ghosts are scared of her boyfriend. Was the logic. So as they're flying off on that giant beast that delivered her emails in the last episode, he's like, yeah, but why did she do it though? And it's like, she fancied him the whole time, and she figured if she could get him to be blamed for a murder, even he probably wouldn't get arrested for it. She didn't know about the letter or anything like that. She just thought, people will think that he killed his ex-wife. Like, she's the one who started the rumors about him killing his the guy who pushed him off the mountain as well. So she wants to push everyone else out of his life, so she's the only person there for him. And he has no point. He has no choice but to fall in love with her.
And she can spirit him away.
Yeah. And it's like there's some sick freaks out there. Well, the police haven't caught her yet, but they'll cop on eventually. Like, and she did explain it to him earlier. It's like, how did you figure out all this? Wow, you really are a goddess of wisdom. It's like, no, I just asked ghosts to spy on the police and say, hey, how are the police doing? Oh, they moved on to someone else. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. And she went down to the bridge and it's like, hey, ghost, can you describe the murderer? And it's like, yeah, she's about 5'7", brown hair, female. And she's like, And also there's a great shot of like what's clearly like a victim of drowning as a ghost going like, oh my God, reacting to someone being murdered. It's just like, yeah, she just got witness testimony from all the ghosts that are everywhere at all times.
She's got informants. No, I got the fucking Nurikabi in my back pocket.
It's way easier to solve crimes if you can just literally she didn't ask the victim of the murder. She just asked all the other ghosts that were there at the scene.
It's just a network of informants and like illegal surveillance, you know, that can solve a lot of crimes.
Yeah. But the police will eventually catch up to her genius of being able to ask a ghost who did it. And yeah, end of the episode. Fucking great shit. Yep. Yeah.
I'm jumping on the next case. Comes their way. It's not entertaining, like, you know. And I'm watching a lot of mystery things lately, so they kind of see like they're taking that, you know, and saying, oh yeah, you can follow these, you know, put all the clues together. What about ghosts? How do you, like, you know, how do you factor for that fun? Saying, well, actually, here's a book turned TV series that's accounted for all that, you know, fun. What if ghosts were involved in all these murders? One thing, well, this will follow a pattern of logic. Ghost logic, that is.
Oh, and her boyfriend herself also think about it on the thing. It was like, well, I guess this guy just has bad luck with women because, you know, a guy tried to kill him over a girl. He married a woman who then tried to murder him, and then another woman tried to murder his ex-wife to try and frame him for the murder. He's just bad luck with women. At least he's doing okay now. And she's like, oh no, he's off with a Yuki Onna now. If she gets mad at him, she'll freeze him to death. I wouldn't be surprised to see that come up in the newspaper. Man frozen in his own home, kind of. And they picture the headlines, and they're like, fucking hell. I mean, like, that could happen to me as well, except for the fact that I'm immortal. And she's like, what the fuck are you talking about? How dare you say that I might murder you? Even though several times she said, I'm going to murder my boyfriend if he cheats on me over the course of explaining these events. Yeah.
Another job well done for the inspector.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's my problem anymore.
Then it's Vinland Saga Season 2, Episode 4, Awakening, in which they're we get like a recap of the end of last episode. And then Snake's like apologizing for his men and telling them to behave themselves in future. And then as he's walking up to Thorfinn, pulls a sword on him and tries to kill him.
And they got the kick though. Got the kick ready for you.
Thorfinn's body reacts and he sees Askeladd in the eyes of Snake. And it's like, just as I thought.
You want to live.
Yeah, your body doesn't want to die.
He just had to come at him, like, obviously Fox was trying to kill him, but Snake was coming at him with killing intent, which obviously he knows from personal experience from last season.
Yeah.
Well, he's always saying, I top a bit of your ear, I'm going to take off one of your eyes, saying, yeah, take off one of my eyes, what's the point? You know, it's like, you know, it's going to be getting better or worse if I haven't got an eye anymore, you know, whatever.
Where Snake was coming at him with the intention or to kill him or to get him to react.
The bloodlust.
Exactly.
Yeah, and essentially he says you better get those men back down to the bottom of the hill safely with grace, otherwise you're not going to be able to eat in future.
Because I'm going to knock out all your fucking teeth.
Yeah. And then they talk to Pater, sort of establishing him there, one of the former slaves who now works as a farmhand, and he doesn't believe that they were going to kill them, and Einar explains, yeah, they
No, they
fucking
were
were,
absolutely going to fucking kill us.
and he's treating Thorfinn's wounds and gives him a new shirt, and Ida has to explain to Thorfinn, you now say thank you, that's the thing normal people do. And Peter's like, yeah, Thorfinn doesn't say anything, so I'm used to it at this point.
He's all right, Thorfinn, don't mind him.
He's quiet, keeps to himself.
And then, yeah, they sort of, as he said earlier, they have a conversation on a haystack.
Not before Einar gets an indication that maybe that girl likes him too. She
or
was
at least
kicking up quite the fuss.
Yes, is responsible for them not being dead.
Yeah.
And then we do get a goofy face from Einar, which we've not had so far.
Nice to get some.
Yeah, fun. Thorfinn awakens from one of his night terrors. He's like, okay, again, I found this kind of fucking. This is, actually, in his night terrors, he's kind of because he's mentioned to Mariva and saying, yeah, fun, I used to fucking be like in a crew, used to fucking raid villages, so like.
Yeah, literally, I was also on a crew that invaded North England, where you were from. Maybe I've lost count of how many people I killed.
Happened to your family, fucking that's the kind of stuff I was involved in, it's just like, and Einar he's obviously fucking wrestling with that, and he's getting the blood, because he's night for saying, yeah, suffer motherfucker, I'm gonna fucking strangle you right now. If only it would be so easy. He seems kind of like, he's like, this isn't the way to do it, this is fun weird, and he's just like, he's obviously fucking like, whatever he fucking did, it's obviously very clearly affecting his psyche, like, to an incredible degree. So maybe I shouldn't strangle him. That's why I hear him out at least.
He wants to kill this guy who has done the kind of thing that has caused Einar's suffering. But he can also see this guy is suffering, and it's just like...
Yes, and also it wasn't him who did it to Einar.
You'd be taking revenge in general rather than specific.
As it points out, the point is they're friends. They've only got each other, and they're in hell. They're in hell, and they've got each other, so they've got to stick with each other. Thorfinn, you daft idiot. Say thank you in future. And next week, Canute.
Yeah. How's he doing? Oh, he's
he's probably doing great, right? Everything's going great for Canute.
It's part of him was gone like fucking like Aki Inu in fucking One Piece and saying, I didn't know fucking this was much fucking paperwork and diplomacy. Jesus Christ. War is way easier.
There is some of that, but at the same time, it's because he hasn't shown up in the comic for ages, but he's still in Thorfinn's mind in the comic, and he's pointing out like the man I met who he's out there doing more wars than you've ever encountered, and he hates it. It's like pointing out, but he knows he's got to do it. You guys like take war too frivolously.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to do war, but he knows he has to do it to make the world a better place after the fact. But yeah, so that's the contrast between them. There's the guy who neither of them want to do war. One of them will choose not to do it, and the other one will choose to do it because the weight's on his shoulders because he wears the crown.
If someone's got to do it, they may as well do it properly and efficiently.
Yes, and also in a way that isn't just Vikings throwing themselves to death. But
war for a purpose rather than war because that's fun.
I'm trying to remember though if we get into that next week or whether that's one of the future check back ins with Canute we get.
Yeah,
could be. There's 3 years of them on the farm we've got to deal with.
Yeah, it's like trying to see like what is the life like beyond this. Thorfinn is one beyond this. He wants no part of it anymore. But like and all these dudes are hanging around the farm, no fun. They're like slaves who are kind of brought her against their will, but they're still hanging around. They're still like wanting to get up to fun to fighting to dead up fun. Saying, don't you got nothing better to do but fucking to fight shit? You've got nothing like this now. We kind of missing fun. What's Kettle's deal? That he used to be like a warmonger. He used to be kind of dude. Well, he used to settle down at that farm. So like.
Yes. We'll get into that as well. I remembered this week what his deal was, and I was like, oh yeah, that is. He's an interesting character. All these characters are interesting characters, and a lot of them
they're all like very humans with their own shit going on. Yeah.
It's like it's coming like, you know, better with like, you know, just better availability of scholarly resources about the whole thing now in recent decades. Maybe, but like was so much of it, and I've definitely noticed in school. You get Roman Empire.
Yeah.
Hold on, nothing. And Renaissance. This is all the dark age stuff, but there's nothing we're talking about here. There's all fucking this kind of dudes knocking the shit out of each other for years and years, and nobody was thinking or doing anything. There was all a bunch of fucking like idiots, fucking just fucking and killing and dying.
But the other thing
Was
is,
it
like,
though?
a lot of history follows, like, you know, kings and rulers and that kind of fucking shit, where it's just like, let's follow what the bigwigs are doing to change world power structures. Like, and what about the motherfuckers who lived on a farm? What was their fucking deal? What was, like, they had to live through this shit? What happened to them? Like, and I appreciate that it's actually like zooming in on this little microcosm of how the world works.
And as I say, of this era and of this time, there is definitely plenty out there, because obviously you can go to you go to Jorvik and you can go and smell the smell of a Viking settlement as you wander around it. But yeah, the thing I do like, and this is kind of like a better version perhaps of Araki, is Yukimura is like, when there's a new thing learnt about a Viking, it gets worked into Vinland Saga. As I think there's a character who will be coming up maybe at the end of this season, maybe in the next season, depending on how long they make the farm stay. Who is? I think we've seen her in the preview of the end of the last season, but I think in the notes it's like, oh yeah, this person was dug up recently, and I've essentially used that as an inspiration for this character that I've put into the series now.
Yeah, I remember it's Vinland Saga. We got like, you know, about going to Vinland now, and before Thorfinn or Einar or anybody was thinking about, you know, fun making their way there, a lot of people have been there. You know, fun Lee Ferguson has been there. Also, other people have been there and come back, and they got some stories to tell about that, and we might just run into them in the course of the story.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some other characters. That's the I was like, I'm pretty sure there was a more recent news article, which was definitely inspiration behind a more recent character who was added to the cast.
Yeah, I that's by happenstance. I think probably like the week after this started now on browsing things that work as you do. But we open the browser and it has the suggested articles, and they're some of these are kind of interesting. Some of these are kind of just like little kind of listing. What was one about this person? Everyone's saying, huh. I wonder if they know that Vinland Saga is out as well, and the spread it's making headlines again. So it's like, okay, give us a little read, could brush up on that bit of the story. Yeah,
but yeah, to see when stuff like that's added, like when Oda changed the Spinosaurus form for page 1, like partway through, it's just like, oh, it's different now. Okay, no problem. Yeah.
Yeah, that was how they did it in the old ancient times. Then it's High Card, episode 4, Samurai Girl. In which we're properly introduced to Wendy, who is essentially, she's like a rom-com character, where if the aim of the thing wasn't romance, but the solitude of a samurai warrior you are aiming for, but everything else is a rom-com about her.
Oh, she's such a klutz.
That could still be like your rom-com chick flick thing, where it's like, I can make it on my own, kind of, that kind of personality, but as a samurai, obviously.
Yes. Yeah, so we keep getting flashbacks to her being told, do not touch the Ace of Spades card, my dear daughter. And we see her touching the Ace of Spades card. And then essentially, it's like, will she draw the sword throughout the episode? Don't let her draw the sword. Will she draw the sword? She draws the sword. When she draws the sword, she's got an entirely different personality. She's got the personality apparently
a different fucking body shape as well.
Yes,
they fucking zoomed right in on that. And saying, yes, the hair is undone, you know, and the eyes turn red. It goes up 3 bra sizes all in one night.
And the suggestion is it's the personality of the playing card
that it kind of like this bloodlust of the sword takes over, because initially when she summons it, like, she's just hitting people with the thing in its scabbard. So
that works.
The crime at hand is a man being kidnapped by himself, a guy called John Doe, who can create 4 clones of himself, who he then dresses in motorcycle helmets with voice alterers, and then has himself kidnapped. And he's part of the
Mm.
Klondike crime organization who've been mentioned, but I think this is the first time we've seen them properly up to something. We also learned that Finn's a better car salesman than Chris is, too much to Chris's annoyance.
If it was a lady, maybe Chris could have getting in there, but Chris would be too focused on the lady and not in the car and closing the deal. So, like Finn is like, no, you're like, no, average guy off the street. You know, I could get you 1-to-1 and more down to earth. No, even though our clients are like the fun, like the CEOs of fucking like computer firms, and this in the market for like a shiny new motor. But he's still like got an affable personality.
I did enjoy the joke of he was currently out trying to sell this car to the client. And he's like, I just got to go take a piss. I'll be back in 5. And that client is waiting there at the end of the episode. And he's like, I've forgotten something. And the man's like, wow, he's taking a long piss.
The door of the
that's how
car
much he's won this guy over.
But Love and Peace, the sword, the playing card, knows that because she calls him a dirty street pisser later on when they're facing off against him.
Also omniscient. That's why Ace of Spades is a very good card.
Yeah, I think this might be my favorite since the first episode. It definitely had like the most fun.
It's a lot of fun, yeah. I think like there's a lot of like the action that's like very minor that works. Like I think him shooting the sword. It's like, what are you gonna do? I'm just gonna cut down your bullet. He shoots the sword and then shoots the bullet and then shoots that bullet to knock the sword out of her hand.
Go 13 special. Keep shooting the same spot.
That's why it's handy to be able to shoot very accurately and straight, like that. Basically, that, yeah.
Zoom. Sorry.
Please.
I was gonna say I like the goopy effect that John Doe has of forming his new bodies as well.
Kind of horrified there, wasn't it? It's okay. Let's make more clones. If one said, "Okay, I will keep killing them."
Yes,
this isn't fun anymore.
And how excited Love and Peace the sword is when it sees Chris there, and then just slashes him repeatedly. Apparently,
it's the infinite buffet where you just keep cutting the same fucking guy. That's her favorite. Yeah. When first she draws the sword, like your man is being held by knife point by John Doe, our plant guy. I've forgotten his name.
VJ.
But as soon as like she's like, oh, I'm gonna draw the sword, he's like, I have escaped bondage and I'm hiding behind a tree over there because I'm like, I'm not doing this.
That's but it's obviously this kind of type of fun saying, well, like no, the sword is she the sword or is the sword her? Oh, is this and this didn't get like no fun. Yeah, that's kind of grand. She had to go fucking one vavavoom suddenly like that. That's just
like it would have been more sensible because she like loosened the tie. If she could have just unbuttoned the shirt, that would have been more sensible than her to increase bra size, like you said. Like I get it. Like it's not necessarily even the sword. It's her unleashed because she's very reserved. She kind of keeps to herself. Like I did like the sequence at the start where she fucks up going to work early and then she counters all those problems the second day going to work. It's like, yes, this time I won't get my heel caught in the manhole cover and get the bus in time. That kind of shit.
Yeah. Let's like not be just her sole thing that she gets, because when it's doing everything so like being very it was extra about it, well, I get well, like be extra and be like a bit bombastic and a bit of a spectacle, but don't let it be to the detriment of like having us care about them. I want to see them do a cool action scene, but I also want to know hope they get out of it all right. Kick some ass when they're doing there.
I remember
I like her in terms of
it is co-created by the Kakegurui creator.
Yeah.
So I think that might be where some of this aspect is coming from.
Coming in like that, but nonetheless, I was able to get on board with them. It was like a lot of you kind of crazy kind of gambling ones, but didn't just focus just on like the main one. But saying the ones who surround her as well, they were also fun saying, oh, they give the heart to the whole like operation as well. So just I suppose we kind of getting to know them all from very early on.
VJ's too sensible. He doesn't get an episode to introduce himself.
Doesn't at all, no.
As we go to Junior Detective Sugar Peace next episode. She is the focus.
Yeah. More like shitty phone calls in the back room. It's just going like, yes, 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 and we're seeing some dudes who are in like in the key art, like I guess some more higher up members of Klondike who are going to make an appearance and start messing things up. So I guess the plot's going to arrive very soon.
Yeah, and there's some other stuff. There's like another guy who's also after the cards, who has his own agent who he's sending as well, who's not part of the Klondike stuff, but somehow connected to it from the character profiles and stuff. And yeah, he's got his personal secretary and bodyguards called Brist Blitz Broadhurst,
BB,
who works for Norman Kingstadt. He's chairman of Who's Who. And various, just need more and more playing card things, which have already been used a year or so ago by Oda in One Piece.
Yeah,
there's only so many card puns to go around, to be fair. So
yeah. Or as a card pun, the local pub is called Crazy 8, but the 8's on its side like the infinity. That's cool.
Yes. I did like Chris. What did he ask for? Like an ice cream sundae? And do I need to remind you that this is a pub?
yeah. I serve pub food, fuck's sake. He gives him a very tall ice cream though, so that he must have had one.
It was a Coke float.
Yeah.
I think it's got that lying around, maybe.
Like I appreciate we're kind of getting an idea of them as a group, because the way they treat the Love and Peace version of her is like, back the fuck away, she's going to try and kill us. But the way they treat her as a co-worker is, oh fuck, she's a clusterfuck. Is she 3 drinks in? All right, I'm fucking out because I don't want to bring her home, kind of thing. They kind of treat her similarly, of like, oh god, she's a mess. We're getting an idea of them.
I thought they were being rude to her in the pub by not sitting with her, but then it becomes clear, oh, that's her choice because she's got to live her life of solitude
by drinking in the pub with them at a separate table with her back to them.
And VJ thinks she's controlled it at first when she first draws the sword, because she doesn't instantly. I guess there was a slight delay compared to normal when she turns into Love and Peace.
Well, it's, you guess, like, from the flashback initially, the phone saying, "Oh, Dara was a real hard case." No, he's just like, quite fun, drill us into her. But they see, like, later on that flashback, the phone saying, "No, actually, like, he's doing this because, like, any father, he wants to keep her safe, and that's the way he was. Just trying to put up like a protective kind of thing, so she doesn't get hurt because."
And like it's not his deathbed wishes, but one of his last wishes for her is like, I'm glad that you'll have people who care about you and you care about. That's good. I don't fucking got that besides you. That's it. Like he wants something better for her than the life of a solitary samurai for her. Like, but and she's got that, but she doesn't realize that she just needs to get the whole murderous intent under control.
Yeah, still no sign of a pack of playing cards as merchandise for this show. I guess maybe they don't want to do that until the show's over, so you don't get spoiled on card designs.
Yeah, actually, we're getting an idea of now that we've seen enough cards as well, we're kind of getting an idea of the theme. So the spades summon a weapon, seemingly.
Makes sense.
The hearts, I think, are all
to do with your body.
Body transformation kind of thing. And then is it
clubs
is elemental stuff? Is it clubs? Or
was clubs was like I just trying to think what Bobby Ball what card he had.
Bobby Ball, he's got 3 of diamonds, Marble Rumble.
I think the diamonds are like ability types, because like Lucky Lunchman, he also had diamonds as well.
That was diamonds as well. Yeah.
So again, fun. Are these Logias or are they Logia types or zones?
But I appreciate that the suits mean different things.
Yeah. You gotta stay on theme. But again, what the hell does a face card do? That's the
thing. They've only
nuclear
went,
bomb.
Ace to 10, like yeah.
VJ's 3 of clubs. Yeah, so that's like controlling. I guess clubs is controlling other things.
And it was clubs for the one with the fire as well, wasn't it?
What was her name?
See, that's why I was thinking it was nearly elemental or something.
Yeah. I guess that was probably correct as well. Yeah, so it's probably control. It's all, they've obviously figured all that stuff out. They've figured out their little world. I'm enjoying this. Again, this was outside of episode 1. I think this was my favorite episode so far.
Mhm.
Then we got Vampire Dies in No Time, season 2, episode 4, Minding the Guild with a Suspicious Person, and Goodbye Mother, Goodbye Summer. I put too many M's in summer there in the description. Summer. So, Minding the Guild with a Suspicious Person. We have what's his name? It's the naked rock paper scissors vampire.
I keep calling him the Janken vampire, but they don't call it that.
No.
He's named after the game of strip Janken,
Yes.
basically. I can't think of the fucking name.
Let's just call him Strip Junkin Vampire for short.
I mean, basically, that's what you could translate his name as, and you'd be correct. Yeah.
Yakukin lover is yes. So he's gone in there. Why has he got in there to begin with?
Because he knows the owner is away, and he's up to mischief, basically.
Yes, and like and the assistant she's run on the bar and she'd probably look pretty good without her clothes on.
I was really worried about that. I was like, you're not going to creep on her, and it came very close, but then it subverted it very well. So
yes, just let the Pixiv artists do that for you.
Yeah, they'll do it. They'll get there. Don't worry about it.
Every episode, it gives them something new to draw. This week, it was Dralk's mother.
One of your recurring vampires puts everyone in a string bikini. They don't have very much to work with in terms of thinking about it. Yeah.
Yes, Koyuki, the daughter of the guild's bartender. Yeah, he claims that he's a vampire hunter because he can't just. Well, first of all, he can't instantly go into doing rock paper scissors because she just puts him in wrestling holds because he's being suspicious. He explains he's a vampire hunter from another town and he just wanted to check out the guild. Apparently, they're not allowed to sell alcohol to vampire hunters.
Well, they're on duty, so
yes.
Yeah.
So he asks for some food. So she brings him was it an omelette?
Allegedly.
First, yeah.
Allegedly, yes.
And I appreciate his thing of what's this fucking big spike? You know, it's he's just pointing to one of the details of the thing.
This is a gag I've done so many times, and they find new things to do with it.
Yes.
I make it a little dessert. No fun. So here's a glass. Here's your ice cream, and here you go. Hold on. What happened between step 1 and step 2 here?
When we did that transition, that changed wildly. I was paying attention. We were paying attention. Yes. The vampire was paying attention, and he calls it out. It's very good. Yeah.
It's very fast.
Yeah, and the other bit earlier on when he's describing the flavors as well was because it wasn't just like it was horrible. It was like it was odd in multiple manners.
And also, he has a whole restaurant review of the meal in his head, and he picks out the various words to describe it as not terrible.
Yeah.
Just 4 words out of his whole review, which is technically still part of the review, so it's not a lie.
Okay. How about I deep fry the kissing vampire for you and put her on a stick? Will that satisfy you? And said no, they were kind of my friend. I told them to get the fuck out because this is my victim here. But
he appreciates that she's still alive, the kissing vampire, and does kick her out the back door. Basically, it's I'll come into the kitchen with you. And it's well, now that I'm in the kitchen, now is the perfect opportunity to. Yeah, he's just looking for an opening to.
Yes, but then another vampire strikes, and he has to fight that vampire, making it shed its skin because it was an insect. And then she's thankful for saving her, and then he's like, here's my chance. Challenges her to a contest. Yes. She takes her bow tie off, and then hard cut to him completely naked, and with her only having the bow tie and waistcoat off. And it's
very good.
She's very good. As a loser, I shall leave naked.
I get apprehended by the police. He's just it's slung over his shoulder, and they have the flash on his paper. Excuse
me, we're gonna have to ask you to put your pants on, sir. And he's like, no, fair cop, yeah.
That's it. You know, a win's a win, a loss is a loss. Meanwhile, and then next part, Detective Conan of no, this is Vampire Dies in No Time. He's been turned into a child suddenly.
Yes, he was dreaming of the time spent with his mother when he was a child, and when he woke up, he was a child, and he thought his grandfather had made the poison from Detective Conan and force-fed it him in his sleep.
It does seem something like your grandpa would do.
And then John's in costumes as one of the black organization.
Always put John in costumes. Yeah, I can see why they sell plushes of John in multiple characters of the show. Yeah,
that's good business sense, though.
And then he decides he's going to play a trick on Ronaldo, and I can never remember her
Inaichi.
name. That's it.
She's showing up for treats. I mean, I'm here to do an inspection.
And will pretend to be his little brother, Drac 2.
That's what it is in our family. You know, it's don't question it.
I like Ronaldo's thing. It was like, that's how I name my hamsters. Oh, Jesus, you go through them that quick? Fucking hell.
But John and John.
Yeah, they make him wear some cute kids' clothes, and yeah, generally he's trying to trick Ronaldo into saying something nice about Drauk, but somehow it keeps on ending up insulting Drauk anyway. And then he ends up he accidentally gets killed again, and then when he comes back, he's back to his adult form, still wearing the now far too small child's cute outfit. Then his mother shows up.
I did appreciate that he opens before they're complimenting. It's like, listen, we're sorry we're talking shit about your brother. Here's some genuine compliments, and he opens the door wearing the far too small children's duck costume. He's like, thanks guys, and then they instantly murder him.
Yeah, that's it.
Of course,
yes, they murder him. The mum comes back, and she brings him back as a child, but now he can't remember his adult friends,
Ronaldo or anyone. Yeah.
Yes, and whisks him away because she is guilty that she was spending so much time for 200 years being a vampire lawyer, making sure there was peace between the humans and the vampires. And it's
I wanted to make a beautiful world you could grow up in, but you grow up so quick in 200 years.
We flew by. Yeah. Got your own friends now. You don't need me. You've got you got the flatmates who got a Nintendo Switch and
so the dad shows up and he's basically said, we've got to go and find is it Maria? Is that the name of the mother?
They say it a bunch.
Sure.
Something with them, yes. And Maria's a different character, that's the nun. Of course it'd be the nun. And of course he's still calling Ronaldo Paul because he thinks his name's Paul McCartney, which is
never change that joke. That's a great continuing joke. Yeah.
And the fact that they don't use the Paul McCartney part of it, it's just Paul Kun all the way through. It's
yeah,
that's just what he thinks he's called, and no one has the heart to correct him. And then because he's taking photos on his the fake DS, that they managed to track him down, and he turns back and then scolds his mother for basically saying this wasn't about me, it's just about you. And
he scolds her, but he also I was always proud of the work you did. I did grow up really fucking well adjusted, kind of. I mean, I grew up in a world of peace, basically. That's why it's so easy for me to die and come back.
He's not a killer vampire, you know?
No, he's a streaming vampire. It's like I live a good life with my good friend Paul McCartney, and it's just like he can talk shit about his friends, he can talk shit to his mom, he can give out to his dad. It's just like, yeah, he's a grown man now, mother. But it doesn't mean he still doesn't want to spend time with her.
Yes, and dad shows up complaining that they hadn't rung him when they found them because that's what they were supposed to do. But then he makes up with his wife, and then is insinuated that they're going to have sex there and then, and so the rest of them quickly head off because they don't want to see that.
But we have established that Drauk's dad does really, really like his wife. So yeah.
Yes. And I was like, it was a 2-part second part, which was essentially still two separate things. The first bit was I'm going to trick them by pretending to be my little brother. The second bit was
it's nearly like a halfway interstitial, like the ending, and then most of the episode is like, oh my god, is everything going to be okay? And it's like, yeah, absolutely, everything's going to be okay. This is a comedy.
It's very heartfelt. It's very touching.
Yeah, it's quite nice, and it's nice to see Drauk stand up for himself for once.
Because everyone steps on him. That's kind of the point of him. Yeah.
And more stuff next week. Then we've got Suddenly Egyptian God Season 2, suddenly a late night snack. Do they order pizza? They can't get Bastet to wake up. They fall asleep.
Team of the week.
But they've left a slice, and Bastet eats the slice. I think that's the entire episode.
Bastet then wants to hang out, wants more food, wanted more than just the cold slice pizza. Cold slice of pizza is nice as well. So she goes to the harvest god, the rabbit.
Oh
Winnet. Yep.
yes.
Yes, and wants to order pancakes like the moon that I see there, and either does have pancakes or dreams of pancakes or orders pancakes. It's not clear what happens, but it's magical.
They definitely have pancakes in this day, and they're
They do have
wonderful
pancakes,
and
yeah.
fluffy. I'm not sure how you get like strawberries and blueberries and needed, because but they did have it anyway. You know, I guess they're gods. They're omniscient. They exist across all times and all dimensions. So that's how you do it.
With the exception of the berries and having tomatoes, pancakes and pizzas are a staple among multiple cultures, so I wouldn't worry about those. Yeah.
Yeah. There's also again, it's like this is the Easter Egyptian god because it's a rabbit, or well, a hare really. And at one point, depending on what pharaoh was in charge, a snake. If we only had a snake, so we had to be a rabbit at some point, or a hare rather at some other juncture.
Yeah.
Can't have two.
Yeah, the more and more you watch this, the more atomism makes sense. Of just like, let's just boil it down to the disk of the sun and forget everything else. Then we got Bungo Stray Dogs, episodes 41 and 42, A Perfect Murder and Murderer, part 1 and 2, in which do you remember Kunikida was set up for the murder of a girl during cannibalism?
I had forgotten until they reminded me that he's currently in prison.
Yeah.
I appreciate them reminding me by like our detective dressed as a mascot arriving in the jail. It's like, I'm here to bust you out.
Damn it, that Dostoevsky. It's a lot of crime.
So the reason for this is because Dostoevsky had employed another gift user who turns out to be Mushitaro Oguri. 2 months ago, he freed him from another organization that will be explained, I believe, in a future arc.
Sure.
And basically just wanted to use his powers to cover up all the crimes they've been doing during the previous arc.
But he's freeing him under the thing of, I need you to cover up one thing for me. Just one thing,
Yes.
just one job, and you're out.
Yes, just to cover up this thing, and then he's like, okay, I will do that, but you gotta let me I'm allowed to stay around for a week, and I get to do this one other thing. Meanwhile, Poe has bought the manuscript of a murdered author. And
he's hanging out at the Space Needle, basically.
Yes.
Well.
Is it Edgar Allan Poe, by any chance?
And his raccoon. Fred, is that the name of the raccoon? Or Carl?
Yeah, Carl bit me, I think is what he says at one point. So, yeah.
I think it was like, it was never proven, but it's just suspicious how he died, so people think he got murdered. Never ever proven. But then he wouldn't exist in this reality because Edgar Allan Poe is just a dude. There's no author called by that name in this universe.
No.
So essentially, what do they do? What's he up to here? Oh, he's trying to cover up.
He's there to buy or to get the manuscript. He's already purchased it in an auction. He doesn't say this to Rampo, but Rampo is showing up going like, I've solved the mystery of why you're here. And by doing that, I'm also like, yeah, I want to meet that guy because I want that motherfucker. And he's doing this over the phone from the gift shop while Poe's waiting for the guy.
It's because, Oguri, who is the suppressor, is faking his own death here as well.
Yes. He's also faking it to the guys who he's there to meet because presumably those guys are there to catch him. So if I fake my own death, then they won't catch me. But
his ability erases evidence.
And it's not that it literally there's little ghosts that move out and they don't steal the fucking evidence or clean the crime scene or anything. They just make you unable to put 2 and 2 together, kind of thing. It seems because later on when he deactivates his powers, oh yeah, it was the grenades that were used were literally they had a box of them over there. So yeah, that your story totally tracks out that they were trying to set you up. But and it's well, the police must have known that the whole time, but they just had the information and couldn't put it together. Yeah. Just a weird one.
Al Qaeda, maybe.
So Rampo and Poe are perplexed by the guy they were looking for's death seemingly happening in front of them. But then Rampo goes off to annoy the real Mushitaro and in a
Hmm.
very Columbo-like behavior for
I've been watching through Columbo and I was getting loads of fucking vibes of that, especially like the interplay between the detective and the murderer, and I was like, that's very funny.
when he invites himself into his getaway car for a lift.
Hmm.
I got
Yeah,
right off you. My wife, she's borrowing the car today, and she'll be out all afternoon. I'm very sorry. It won't happen again.
if Columbo was a very annoying child, that was a man. Basically that would be Rambo in this case. Yeah.
Columbo babies. Columbo Jr. Columbo Zero. Columbo Zero.
Yeah, and what he manages to harass not Mushitaro, the culprit, into giving himself away, but the getaway driver into giving themselves away. But then the getaway driver, turns out he's got diplomatic immunity.
It's been revoked.
And also this gun didn't have bullets in, and I'm allowed to have this gun. And he's like,
I'm allowed to point my bulletless gun at people, officer. There's not a crime in the land against that. And they're like, ooh, I guess.
And yeah, Rampo's like, you got me. A guy with no gift like me is never going to be able to beat a guy with a gift. Oh well.
Let me just text my own phone that I've left in the car with an entire fucking novel, just written by my good buddy with a gift. How do you like that? Them apples. Now you're stuck in this book with me. And it's like, not if I solve it. Not if I finish my sentence, says Rambo.
Yes. Because yes, he basically, Poe's sent the novel that he put, because the reason why Rampo's onto him is because the last page of the novel that Poe's bought was a photocopy, and Rampo had found the original hidden away, and
in the gift shop while he was dicking around in the gift shop, like in the photocopier, basically.
Because there's a photocopier in the gift shop, yeah, and so that's what he was confronting him with. So yes, he sent him the novel in the phone and activated Poe's power. So they're both trapped inside the novel that the murdered author had written. And the novel is also the tale of the author's murder. That's the other thing. And then
so the thing is, the first 2 chapters were released, but the 3rd chapter wasn't, which is what your man was there to buy in the underground auction. And everyone was trying to solve, oh man, this mystery's so good. So obviously the murderer read the book and then read the last chapter, killed the author, and is like, well, this is how I do the perfect murder. And if I steal the last chapter, no one will be able to solve it. So everyone's really wrapped up in how do I solve the mystery of this missing chapter where the murder lines up to how it was really done in real life.
And Mushita was like, well, I can get out of this novel because I know the ending, because all I have to do is say I murdered
state
him,
the ending.
and I can exit. And then Rampo's like, no, you didn't murder him though, did you? Because you had to photocopy that last page because it was damp, because as you were throttling, you were crying because he had asked you to throttle him to death. Because you were each other's only friends, and the guy was dying, and so therefore
he wanted to create like it was also a metatextual discussion of mysteries. And just like you're all into it, but once it's solved, it's done. You know the fucking answer, and you're not invested in it anymore.
And it gets slotted away into a subgenre of mysteries. It's never the greatest mystery. Yeah. So if you write a mystery which is emulated by your own death while you were writing the mystery, then that'll be the greatest mystery of all. Yes. And so he's got him dead to rights. They exit the novel. He basically says, okay, you need to contact this guy, he's in trouble. You show him your skills to get him out of trouble, and he'll take you on in his department. It'll be great for you. You'll
be able to... when he's in the back of the cop car, to be arrested and shit, it's like, this will get you a government job, like solving mysteries for justice, or at least covering up information for spies, and in stuff that works for good, basically.
You've never actually murdered anybody. The one person you killed, the guy asked you to kill him, so you're not really that much of a criminal. And as they're on the way there, they get stopped by the police because there's been an accident, and
there's been a murder. Oh, who got killed? You, says the worst wizard I've ever fucking seen.
As they are ambushed.
He's the worst wizard because he keeps giving away the answers to his own quiz as a wizard. So
yes, they are ambushed by Nikolai Gogol in disguise as a policeman, and then takes the disguise off and is now dressed as a wizard with a tiny top hat. So, and then, Mushitaro gets, as the cops are killed around him, he gets on the radio and warns Rampo, whatever you do, do not take the agency's next case. It'll be the
You're gonna
death
get a
of the
big case.
agency."
Don't take it.
And then there'll be loads of gunshots, and then that's the end of the episode.
Which is really good because it wraps up really nicely with, like, you know, Rampo having stolen the taken the last sheet off Poe, and also stolen the detective's lighter, so he can set the last page on fire to leave it a mystery. I was like, I'm gonna leave it as that guy's last wishes. I've gotten him a job in government work like myself. Everything's clean, and then that fucking ending just throws it all fucking topsy turvy. Yeah.
Yes, and no doubt they'll ignore the warning and Rampo's complaints next week. Otherwise, I don't think there'll be much plot. Nikolai is very kind as well to point out, though, that I am part of a 5-man terrorist organization called the Decay of the Angel. So he's given the good guys the name and also how many of them there are, so they can sort that out over. Actually, I still don't think they have sorted it out in the comic. So there is no nice pat answer for this season, I don't think.
Right.
I think that plot is still ongoing in current issues. So I guess we'll just get part of it, which I guess then we might have a very long wait for season 5.
I'm fine.
But it also probably means that they won't open season 5 with the bloody light novel.
That's a good fucking positive to it, and I mean, like, this is a good return to form if you skip those episodes that are adapted from a light novel and aren't necessary and are going to fucking sour you to the actual good shit, which these episodes are.
Yeah, because this moves with such a clip, and I was like, oh yeah, I love how everyone's got like those diamond irises. It's just like a nice design touch that makes you go, oh yes, I'm watching Bungo Stray Dogs here. Nobody else does that with their eyes.
So will these two be like Russian language authors who are not from countries that are now like the Ukraine or what have you?
Eastern Europe authors rather than European, or no, it's British authors, European authors, and Eastern European authors.
Yeah, these guys are a mix, I believe, of various times and places. But don't look too further into it, otherwise you'll be spoiled, like I was when I clicked on the link of the organization. Because
let me see, Nikolai Gogo fun. Died in poverty. Oh man.
Oh yeah, I mean, this guy who's in 2 episodes is in 2 episodes here, and yeah, the 4 authors' image search has already been ruined.
Yeah, he was second one down. But I suppose maybe they thought, he kind of like a big nose. He was kind of subconscious about. So maybe the anime version would be a bit better. I mean, maybe he'd be happy with that one.
And the anime version of him gets his face changed partway through to fucking disguise his crime again. And I'm just like, Jesus, that's just ruined your author search if anyone looks up you for real as an author. Which, again, this is that thing of, hey, I enjoyed that character in the anime. I wonder what his literary works are like. Let's check it out.
Yes. Yeah, I do wonder if that does happen. I mean, I do have still sitting in my wish list on Audible is the audiobook for I Am a Cat, which I stuck in there after the end of season 3. So I was like, oh yeah, that sounds like a book I might quite like getting to at some point. A book written from the point of view of a cat. I was going through the somebody on a Discord was asking if Columbo had ever been mentioned in Detective Conan, and he's like I think he's the 5th detective on the back cover slip on the
famous detectives.
Yeah. But I was going through the list of them, and there have been 2 cat detectives on those lists. And I was like, I knew of one of them. I hadn't realised there was another one. That this is there are multiple instances of cats being main characters in detective novels.
Like Black Sad.
Oh no,
he's a private investigator.
He's a private eye. He's a detective.
He's a man who looks like a cat. These are actual cats.
Yeah.
Who just happen to lead their owners to vital clues, as if they somehow solve the crimes themselves.
Like Hong Kong Fui's cat.
Yes.
Maybe that 3 cat detectives.
Yeah, fucking hell.
Yeah, that cat's probably the best person in that police department. Detective Conan, the culprit Hanazawa, episode 1, the criminal who came. So
He's behind you.
we got a very Shota Aoi opening credits with him doing some dancing, but all in the
That was
form
fucking great.
of a shadowy cartoon man. Yes.
Like doing the dancing thing, and
He can't help it, he demands to do this and everything is involved.
Yeah, his voice acting in this is great because it leans so it veers from like almost like innocent to devilish within the one sentence it can. Yeah, so Hanazawa,
like he is absolutely a suspect in that he's come to town to do a murder. He's come to the murder capital of the world to murder.
Yes.
Where else would you go? Like, yeah.
Yeah, he's come to God, what's the name of the town Conan takes place in?
My brain's like Bread Town. I don't think that's the right name.
No. So anyway,
yeah.
He comes to town to do a murder, but he's got to find a place to live. As he's getting off the train, people are trying to stop him from getting off the train.
No, you don't want to go off on this stuff. This is the murder capital of the world. What are you doing?
It's Murderville.
You're a young man or
famous comedian is going to help you solve a case.
What you are, but you don't want to die here. And he's like, "Oh, I've come here to murder, so this is exactly my stop." Actually, rest of the train carriage.
Yes. He gets insulted by Sudoku immediately stepping off the train because he doesn't know how to use the
ticket machine. Yeah,
the ticket machines in this town. And he imagines blowing her up there and then.
And that's satisfying enough for him. It's like, all right, I just pictured murdering her in a very elaborate scenario. I'm good. I can get on with my day now.
There's weird signs in the town boasting about how many people get killed here. I think he briefly walks past Conan, who gives him a stare, and then he's got to find a place to live. So he finds a place.
He goes to like an auctioneer's basically, where it just has all the listings in the window. But the problem is, it's just like, this is suspect. Like, these prices are too fucking low. So obviously they do this. It's like, wow, so cheap. And then you walk in and then they're like, nah, that one's already sold. Here's the expensive one. They try to pressure you into a fucking sale. This is obviously sus as fuck. So I'm going to go in and fucking stick it to them. And your man's like, oh no, that's available. Yeah. You want to see it now? We can do a showing right now. Yeah, let's go for it. And he's like, why the fuck is this so cheap? This is like a high rise. It's not like a back alley thing. It's like great fucking views. It's just like, oh yeah, because the guy was murdered right here. And he goes into the grisly detail of the murder.
And he's like, for over 20 years now, there have been so many murders in this town. It's like
every apartment he shows him is like, all right, see this one? This is where a sister like cracked her fucking head open in the bathroom in a lover's quarrel. He goes through all the things, and your man's like, I'm going to live in the first apartment. That was the least violent murder.
No, because first of all, he wants to live in a non-cursed apartment. And
that's right. Yeah.
They're both terrible and super expensive.
Yeah, it's in the shit part of town. No one gets murdered in the shit part of town. And yeah, very, very expensive.
It is next to the theme park. That's nice. The theme park where our dude was decapitated on the roller coaster. Oh, yeah. That's bad.
But now the tickets are really cheap at that theme park, especially the roller coaster.
Oh, that's good. The snacks are very expensive. That's bad.
And so, yes, he's got a place to stay at the end of the episode, and now we can start plotting his murder, which I think is going to take him all 12 episodes to get to.
Yeah, this is very good.
It's never getting there. Yeah.
I did enjoy this. It's like, I mean, like we did say episode 1000 and what was it, 70 something?
So yeah,
71. So it's like there's been enough Detective Conan that we can have a spin-off genre about. It's weird the amount of murders in this 1000 long episode fucking anime. It's like, yeah, it is.
I just so appreciate it. Because it's the thing. People who've watched lots of Murder, She Wrote or lots of Midsummer Murders, it's the joke you're going to make as a viewer, and they've done it very well here as its own gag strip, and it's just quite mean to the actual real characters as well, as far as we can tell.
Why does anybody in Marvel Comics live in New York City? It seems to get wrecked every week.
It's because rent is actually very cheap there, unlike the real New York City. Yeah, what are you going to do?
It's following a trail of logic to its hysterical conclusion. And yeah, like I say, Shota Aoi, he's great here. I love his voice as Hanazawa. And
Did you like the shadowy figure dancing in the opening more so than the shadowy figure sitting on a windowsill, like just having a nice cup of tea with a cat? Like that was also good. Like I was just like,
Yeah.
damn, this opening and endings are fucking great. I love them both.
It is. The character designs for the main characters are just off enough to make them seem comedic, with Rand's
Yeah.
spike being pretty much straight up as opposed to off to the side. And now it's
Yeah.
ruined to character design for me because I never noticed that spike before, and now I do. I've seen it in this
That's because you
version.
watched 1,000 episodes of it. It just seems normal now. Yeah.
It does, and I think it's also maybe become more abstract as it's gone along, like a Shin-chan situation where the character designs become more angular.
I saw someone do a really good analysis of Rand's hair, where it was that kind of swoopy haircut, where it's the bit that kind of goes up on the fringe, but then that got more and more abstracted the more it got drawn, and eventually it's just like a sideways spike. But it was kind of like doing the timeline of how her hair got that way.
She's had a hard life. She's had a hard couple of years. The comic is actual taking place of no reason. She's seen a lot of death.
Yeah.
6 months, I think. I think that's generally how long things have happened in there. Then we've got Great Beasts of Arse, episode 5, Test of Strength. They're going to head to Forestland. I think that's where they're going to. Forestlanders. They think have made the ring, so they're going to go there.
They got to go through the mountain landers, guys.
Yes, the mountaineers live in the mountains. And
they're halfway between like an orc and what's it, a Goron from Zelda. I was getting that kind of vibes because they're big round fellas.
Yeah, they're reminding me of like Warhammer ogres.
Ogres as well, yeah.
Particularly your main guy with his mohawk.
Sure.
And general beefiness. But before they get head into the mountains, they get stopped by Zen. What's he currently calling himself? He's got a very sort of self-depreciating name.
Yeah, he does.
Zen the Relic or something along those lines. It's referred to.
Yeah, they used to call me Zen the youthful and spunky, but now they call me like Zen the Relic.
Yeah,
or something like that. Yeah,
and he's like, "Oh, you go to the mountaineers all through those. They occupy all the mountains now. So,
I'll write you a letter of recommendation. Yes, like easy peasy. They know me. I'm cool with them. We're all cool.
Yeah, and Jiro's like, okay, I'm gonna have to stay in the vehicle because these guys they're gonna have beef with me, and then we got a brief flashback.
I fought a war against these guys, and I fucked them. I stabbed a bunch of them, and here's a flashback of me stabbing this one guy in the shoulder, and that's the chief of the village that they're going to. So he's kind of like hiding in the back of the van, going like, just don't fucking tell him I'm here. Just don't say nothing about me. Keeping his head down.
I think my favorite bit in all this stuff, which is established in here early on in this episode, is how much Mia hates Meran. She throws a bottle of red wine at his head at one point in the episode.
It's pretty great. So they go out and it's like, hello, we got a letter of recommendation from Zen, the old guy. And they're just reading the names. It's like, one of these names is Jiren. And then they all go like start stomping their clubs. Jiren. Sorry.
Yes, Jiro.
And he's like, all right, I guess I got to get out of the van now. And they're like, hey, welcome. Come on. You're staying here.
Yes, because it turns out it's much worse in Jiro's head than it is for everybody else.
Like, yeah, you fought a war against us. We fought a war against you. We're cool now. We're a warrior race. It's like, shit happens. Like, yeah, you stabbed me in the shoulder. I got better. So, no harm, no foul.
Oh, I forgot they opened with checking in on those two officers.
The guards! It does check in on the guards. Oh man, they're so dead. They're so screwed. Because at one point the other guy's like, man, fucking, I just got married like this year. I'm like away from the wife and shit. Like, what's going on? It's like, hey, you know what you should do? Says the older guard. He's like, what? He's like, you should get a job with the elite guards. Apparently they make you super strong. He's like, really? And the pay is great. Really? And he's like, no, you fucking idiot. Your mind gets warped with drugs and you don't give a fuck about money anymore, you stupid moron. We are going to survive this. You and me, buddy.
I mean, I'm hearing about them. They put me in mind of... Just from hearing from you, they might remind of fucking 21 and 24 from the Venture Brothers. They have that perfect blend of like incompetent and invulnerable.
Yes.
They've kind of got the same physiques as well.
One tall and skinny, one kind of round.
I want to be the elite guard.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are probably the best characters. I do hope they're like the ones left standing at the end of it.
Yeah. I'm rooting for them. I like them too much at this stage.
Yeah, but it's also clear from where they are is that there are multiple versions of our heroine kept on ice
Yes.
in the location they're in.
She's absolutely a copy-paste cleric, because they do go through these clerics quite fucking frequently, it seems.
Yes.
But before they say it's like we're cool with Jiro, they do make him fight, like wrestle a bunch of dudes.
Yes, they make him wrestle a bunch of dudes, and then the leader Baban fights him and beats him, and then they get the explanation. Yeah, we're fine with you, mate. Don't worry about it.
You're just a legendary warrior, so we wanted to wrestle you, like in a big show. Not to prove that we're better than you, because we did make you wrestle like one dude after the other. It's kind of like, you know, it'll be fun, basically, is why we did it. But now we're having a meal, and I appreciate the whole speech of, it's like, check it out, the ladies like you. And he's like, all of your women look like underage fucking things. And he's like, yeah, that's just the way our women look. But maybe you're with the bunny woman, or the small little cat girl, or the guy. It's like, love is love, baby. We're mountain people. We don't fucking care.
Basically naming everybody but Kumi. Who...
She's getting fucking really like, it's like, why wouldn't you name me?
You're mean.
Oh, we did get the standard thing of the chapeau goes out and like meow meow meow, and then from behind the fucking troll like mountaineers comes a lion wearing one. It was like rawr, rawr, rawr. It's like, I fucking this. I wish the series goes on longer just so we get more of those jokes. It's funny every fucking time.
Yeah, we'll get one more at least, I imagine, with the Forest Landers.
With one more village at least. Yeah.
Woohoo! Woohoo!
I'm hoping when I see the cow one that was in the intro, I was like, that looks like a good one. A tiny cow on your head, that's great.
Yeah, I'm hoping we don't get any explanation of what they are.
No, I don't need any. They wear a little animal on their head. I think that's what's controlling the body. That's all I need to know.
See a cross section of it, if one is burrowed into your brainstem.
Yeah. Oh dear.
Yeah, and so they fight a beast as another part of like, is it like a naming ceremony?
Yeah, like there's a beast attacking the front gate, so they let it into, again, the arena, which you have to get into first. So, and they're just like, yeah, this guy's just going to fight the beast and it'll be cool and he'll do a great job. But wouldn't you know it, the beast develops a big old red eye during the thing. Not before our kid, the hasty, tries to fight it, immediately breaks his sword and then runs the fuck away.
But yeah. But he does.
I mean, the beast is made out of steel, basically. So, you know,
yeah,
it's not
essentially, it's established in this episode that like Merrin's mind is right in terms of fighting. He just can't match it with his physical abilities yet.
Yeah. He's not. You're getting in there quick. Very good. Getting in there sensibly. That's where you need to be.
Yes, because he points out how Baban can smash the arena to give them an advantage, which he does because Baban is also a paladin and his wife is his cleric. They also did the sensible thing of like, oh yes, Baban's wife, while she looks quite young, does have an adult woman's voice.
Yeah.
And then they defeat the beast. They're going to stay here for another week because on the horizon we see that 5 more beasts have been defeated by another paladin and his cleric, who looks exactly like Kumi, and now they go attack the village. But they're interrupted by Zen, who says, "Would you mind repeating that plan for me again?" As he gets his sword out to attack them. Perhaps, which I assume we're going to see the fight, which is in the opening credits next week, because the very last bit of movement is the best bit of movement in the entire episode. Is Zen getting ready to attack this pair.
A lot of the fighting wasn't particularly well animated, but like it was a very enjoyable. Again, just flew fucking by as a plot.
It's a decent fantasy romp. I like the characters. I like the way they interact. The 5 of them now. They kind of Ramada likes Mia and Kumi. Doesn't like Merrin and Jiro. Mia likes Jiro, Kumi. Ramada doesn't like Merrin. Merrin would like to like everybody, but some of them don't seem to like him.
Yeah, it's really good. Like
out there.
It's a solid fucking parody. Enough of the world is explained that I don't need a shitload of it explained. That kind of fucking thing, which is ideal.
We did check in on the general. There's politics going on in the capital.
Again, she's just like, oh, I'm still mad about this, and I'm talking and walking and that kind of shit. Like, I have no idea what the politics are going on, but it keeps cutting back to her going like,
Yeah,
isn't that guy really suspicious and isn't he going to work against you behind your back? And he's like, yeah, but he's not going to make a move until he fucking is sure he can win. So I'm not
yes.
really worried about
And
it.
he's mixing his red wine with those magical crystal meth crystals.
Yeah, so he's on the magic crystals.
Don't put ice in the red wine, Jesus, barbarian.
Especially green ice, yeah.
And they're eating steaks, but they've also got like a semi-alive fish as a display piece on their table.
That's how fresh it is, I guess.
Singing Billy Bass.
And I assume she doesn't trust the crystal thing, so she's refusing to eat any of the food that he's serving her.
Yeah. I think this is part of what the guards were talking about basically in the break room, where they were just like, don't take the super guard drugs. It's not going to go fucking well. Like, and your man has enough genre savvy to know it's like, that's a bad idea. Do not get a promotion in this fucking world, man. Let's be very low level guards for this whole fucking thing. We'll be grand.
There's a bit of Vimes from Discworld about the other one of those two as well.
He knows what genre he's in. He knows his power level. It's just like, we just stay here and we're good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fun old show if you like this sort of level of fantasy, which is exactly my level of fantasy.
Not a video game.
Yes, not a video. Well, I mean, Rage of Bahamut was also, so let's not entirely rule those things out.
That's true.
It's nowhere near as good as either of the Rage of Bahamuts.
Yeah, but those didn't feel like video games. It just felt like,
those were card games, though, weren't they?
They were.
Yeah. But it isn't like, when you're fucking like watching the story unfold, I feel like fun saying, yes, this is a magic system, right? This is how finding more hit points to and fun seeing elements be different.
Basically getting the system and lore.
Getting a migraine now.
Unless you do it sillily. I like it when you do it sillily.
Magical Structural Guru had it cracked.
Yes.
I've never been topped since. Never.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it has, but there's been things I liked from last year. But again, they're always manga isekai, not light novel isekai, because visual storytelling
works best as a visual medium.
Yes, it does. Yes, less people going on monologues about your role-playing game mechanics. That's it for this week. No Lupin next week. There will be a Roboco though, because one from 2 weeks ago, I think. But there was another Roboco.
Take your time. I'll take them when they're coming.
Exactly. And we got get rid of that A. It's just Hanazawa, not Hanazawa. Yes, we got that the other Akitara Daiichi show to watch as well now. Righty ho. That is all. Back next week. Goodbye.
Long one.
Bye.
Good night.